How do you guys spend it?
Okay. Okay, so welcome back to Mahoots. We are going to do a quick little rehash of the 108 defilements, so-called defilements, from yesterday, and then we're going to move on. I really want to do a little piece on a specific figure within Buddhism that we have, who is, well, it's after New Year's, and New Year's resolutions are a thing, but we don't do resolutions, we do vows instead. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. So the 108 so-called defilements of Buddhism are essentially just ways that we fail ourselves throughout the year. And there are various schemes and various thoughts as to exactly how they came about. You know, there's the usual one, which is like it's multiplication, like 3 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. Why that's important, I don't know. There's also the thought that it came out of the old Hindu qualities that are supposed to exist, the 54 good qualities, 54 male and 54 female, and you combine those two, you get 108. Do I buy that? Not really. What I see the 108 as, and yes, we have the list of all 108 of them, but what I see this whole list as is essentially it's a number that is big enough that you have to do something about it, but not so big that it's going to be like impossible, right? If it were a 10,050 or something, you'd sit there and look at it and be like, whatever, I can't do that. And if it were like 2, you'd be like, whatever, I'll do that tomorrow, right? But 108, you have to be like, this is going to take some effort. We have to put some effort into this. We have to try, right? We have to make the effort happen, right? And so you'll notice that most of these are mental qualities that manifest in our actions, right? Some of them are a whole lot easier to deal with than others. Things like gluttony, right? It's real simple to deal with that. You eat properly, right? Instead of eating too much. Being a know-it-all, hey, tone it down, right? These are things that we can work on, things that we can improve, right? There are ways that, yeah, okay, we probably do most of these, or at least some of them, throughout the year. We have the opportunity, right? At New Year's, we have the opportunity to go back and review the ones that we've done and say, don't want to do that next year, or don't want to do this in the coming year. How about I not do that, right? How about I find ways to not do that, right? Things like, let's find a nice little simple one, right? Indifference. We could be indifferent. We totally could, right? It's a failure. We are failing ourselves and we are failing our community when we are indifferent, right? Because we're saying, doesn't matter, I don't care. When we could in fact care, when we could in fact demonstrate the compassion which is central to what we are supposed to be doing, right? We are supposed to have compassion for others and, compassion for ourselves as well. Being indifferent is basically saying, okay, well, if you're suffering, whatever, that's you. Don't care. So we can tone that down with a little bit of compassion, right? And this whole list is things that we can do, things that we have the capacity to do that we definitely should not be doing, right? Some of them are worse than others. A violent temper obviously is bad. Masochism is terrible. Some of these I sit there and I look at them like, what? Like calculation, right? I get where they're going with this one. Being a calculating person, right? Oh, I'm going to give you this, but in return, I know that I'm going to get this back. How about you just do the right thing and be a decent human being and, not expect a specific set reward for your actions, right? That's totally a thing. Others of these are things that we definitely need to be doing, or definitely need to work on so that we don't do them. Things like lecherousness, you definitely don't need to be doing that. Malignancy, don't need to be doing that, right? quarrelsomeness, you don't need to be quarrelsome. You really don't. There's no point to it. And again, these are examples of things that we can work on, right? Things that we can do that with our effort, we can actually we can do better this year than we did last year. We can make this year a better year than last year was. Even if last year was a good year, this one can be even better, right? Because we're not going to do these things. Or we're going to deliberately make the effort to not do them. Sometimes, sure, yeah, we're going to fail. That's part of humanity, right? We fail. It's just part of what we do, right? If you every once in a while have to do some lying, is it part of life? Yes. Should it be? No. Do your best, right? And that's the whole point. You have the chance to do your best. You have the chance to make the effort to do these, to do the right thing and to not do all of this stuff, right? So, that was what I had talked about basically yesterday. And the whole reason why the bell came into play is because we have 108 of these, and we ring the bell 108 times. Guess where the connection is? So, I'm going to put that aside for now. Noting that if you really feel like it, I can probably bust out the bell. It's just sitting in the back there. But I did want to move on to this figure, known as Ksitigarbha, or Jizo, the Earth Store, or Earth Moon, or Mysteries of the Earth Bodhisattva, or Enlightened Being, who is known in Buddhism as the King of Vows, because of, specifically because of the vows that he took and is still working on. Because why? I mean, we'll get into it. So his main vow, the central vow which makes him who he is, that really gives us the respect for him that he has earned. I listed there. I shall strive until all the hells are cleared, and not until all suffering beings have attained enlightenment will I do so myself. Well, we continuously, as humans, not individually maybe, but as humans, we continually do things which send us to the various hell realms. We do all of this terrible stuff. That's just reality, right? This guy says, not until every single person who has done something terrible is out, has been given a little bit of salvation and has been helped out of the hell realms, will I attain enlightenment? Will I, because he's already basically enlightened. He's just not to the end stage yet, right? So he's essentially saying, I'm going to stick here, I'm going to stick in the hell realms, and I'm going to make sure that everybody gets out before I go off. That's a pretty hefty vow, right? Because the hells are packed. Let's just not kid ourselves. The hells are packed, right? Everybody from like the super, super high levels of hell to the tiny little oh hey, you really shouldn't have done this. The smaller ones. And the thing about Buddhism is all of the different realms, especially the hell realms, eventually you will burn off the karma that you created from whatever action. So eventually, and it may take a very, very long time, but eventually you're going to get out of hell and you're reborn someplace else. Eventually, right? It may take a little while. It may take a very long while in some cases. But eventually they are going to get out. And this guy is essentially saying, until every single one of those people has been cleared, until every single one of those hells is completely vacant, I'm not leaving. I'm not going to leave them here to suffer, right? That's a powerful vow. That's a powerful statement that says, people matter. What we do matters, and me being able to offer them a little bit of help, that matters. That's important. That's a huge, powerful statement, right? So, in keeping with tradition, I would like for all of us to consider, you don't have to write it down now, but I would like for all of us to consider a vow of practice, right? Because essentially what he's doing, as he goes around the various hell realms. And he's really well known for being, for helping those who are in the hell realms, but he's also a patron saint of travelers. He's also a patron saint of infants who died before they could do anything, and small children, right? So he kind of takes all of these suffering beings, especially the little ones. He's really well known for that in some parts of the Buddhist tradition. And he helps guide them along the path, right? He helps through his practice of helping to guide them along to a better place. He's doing things to make that vow a thing. It'll take him a long time, sure. But he's actually making the effort. He's putting in the effort through his practice, through helping others, through serving with compassion, through offering them compassion, through offering them mindfulness, through offering them awareness, right? That's how he offers that salvation. And that's a practice. That's something that he does. So I thought, well, we always talk at New Year's about the resolutions that we make, right? And those are not that different from vows. Vows are kind of like an advanced form of resolution because it's something that you keep at. I wanted to kind of give you guys a chance to say, okay, well, let's put together a practice vow for ourselves. It doesn't have to be anything fancy. It doesn't have to be anything super grand. And you don't have to write it down now. Just give it some thought and say, okay, in this next year, I'm going to do this. Right? And maybe you take a look at the list of 108 and you say, I did a bunch of that this year. I am definitely going to practice not doing that in the coming year. Right? And because some parts of the Buddhist tradition are really heavy on goals, I put that on there as well. If you would like to put down a practice goal, like my goal is to meditate for X number of minutes every day for the entire year, go for that. Right? I added that in there so that you guys would have the opportunity to, as you see fit, make that happen. Right? But the whole main point, again, going back to our figure here, is that we have to practice. We have to do, right? Faith is not exclusively about what you know. Faith is not exclusively about what you believe. Faith is about what you do. Putting things into practice, putting your beliefs into practice, that's faith. Faith is where you find it. Faith is where you do it. Right? Faith is what you do. It's a verb. People tend to think that faith is a noun. Faith is more of a verb than a noun. And what we do, what we practice, right? What we put into practice, that's what makes us who we are. That's what really shows our beliefs for what they are, right? And in some cases our beliefs are a little bit more shallow than others. In some cases our beliefs are a whole lot more deep than others. This is shown through practice, right? It's shown by what we do with those beliefs. It's shown by what we do with that knowledge, with that wisdom. Just like the Bodhisattva here. What he does shows who he is, right? What he does shows his faith. What we do shows ours. So we have that opportunity to put into practice something that we can do to make this year a better year. Let's do that. Okay. I'm going to close out the sermon there. We will move into the longer meditation, and I'm going to go close out the video. As always, downward salute.